Yes.
So you have a project coming out on Indiegogo as of today, but before we touch on that, you're also contributing to doing covers for another project, correct?
That's right. Yeah, I just did two covers for Red Sonja and Evil Ernie for Age of Chaos, Red Sonja Age of Chaos. And I thought it would be a great idea when Dynamite had talked to me about it. I said, "Oh my gosh, this is serendipitous to me because Red Sonja debuted in Conan the Barbarian number 23, which is like my number. It also came out in 1973, the year of my birth. I'm like, yo, that makes perfect sense. And then Evil Ernie debuted in December of 1991, which is the month and year that I broke into comics. So I thought,
Wow.
what a great way to bring Black Flag back by doing these covers with Dynamite. And also, it's a good way for me to sort of see how Indiegogo works. I wasn't quite sure how crowdfunding works. I have a lot of friends that have done crowdfunding on both platforms, and it's really interesting to see how that works. But yeah, that was really exciting, especially to be drawing those characters again, seeing them on a cover, especially seeing them with other characters like a classic like Red Sonja or a contemporary like Evil Ernie was just a thrill.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And that campaign is going pretty well. So I guess let's start here then. So what made you make the choice between Kickstarter and Indiegogo? Because like you said, like they're both pretty viable options. So why did you choose one over the other?
I did some research on each, and Indiegogo seems to me like the way the tiers are set up is a little more clear. The fact that you can do add-ons, I like the idea that someone can say, "Hey, man," it's like when you go. I don't know if you have Fry's out there. It's an electronics store, but or even when you go to Walmart, right? You go and you buy your ground beef, your jug of milk, and you're like, "Oh shit, look, there's a set of headphones. I need headphones," and you grab them, right? Like that's like an add-on. So the fact that Indiegogo has that ability, if somebody says, "Hey, I want to get your book, but I also want to get a T-shirt. I'm going to add that T-shirt at the end, and I don't have to make a T-shirt tier." I like the idea that Indiegogo will allow that. I like their presentation. They seem to have a lot of progressive ideas on there. I've funded a few books there. I don't know. As a platform, it seemed to work better for my needs, especially the add-ons part.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So getting right into it then. So you're starting Indiegogo as of today, and what is that campaign going to be about?
This Indiegogo campaign is for Black Flag Pineapple Perception. It's the very first comic book featuring Black Flag in 25 years. It starts off where Black Flag ended in 1995 in Black Flag 4. But you don't have to read the old ones to get up to speed. I've designed the story in a way where you can, in the first 10 pages, know what's going on, know who the characters are, and jump right in. For anybody that wants to get up to speed, I have a campaign mail list that you can go to on Indiegogo, where if you sign up, just for signing up, I send you a PDF of issues 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 for free. For free. So if you want to get caught up, there they are. So I've got this story that I've been wanting to tell now since 1995. We get our heroes, like the tagline that I have for them is Black Flag saving the Earth one world at a time. So it makes people go, wait, one world at a time, isn't the Earth one world? And then I say the one above, the one we know, and the one below. So they're protecting us from galactic threats. They're protecting us from, like, your normal Earthbound villain, like the Kingpin or Doctor Doom would be an Earthbound sort of villain. But then the ones below are like the devil himself, right? Or supernatural characters. So when we jump into this book, we find that the middle of Dagger City has a giant sinkhole in it, and they think it's a city problem. If we get our tractors in there and lift it up and fix some pipes and fill it in, things would be fine. And the news reporters are doing a report on it, and suddenly the military arrives, and they're like, "Why is the military here?" Suddenly, all things from hell come out of this hole and start just demolishing the military. And Black Flag is called in, and we jump right into that meat grinder in the first 10 pages, and we see like, why is there this sinkhole? What's going on? What is the history of Dagger City? Why is that important? And we also get into a little more backstory on each of the characters, plus the introduction of some concepts. Like I said, I've been very excited to introduce since 1995. Oh,
wow. So is this going to be like an OGN? Is it going to be a series of books?
It's going to be a series. It's going to be 4 issues. My favorite comic book of all time is The Dark Knight by Frank Miller that came out in '86. If I have my way, I'll do it almost exactly the same with the perfect binding, 48 pages each. If I have to price it out. We're still in the process of pricing it out if it makes sense at the price point. But it's 4 issues. The first one is called Pineapple Perception. The second one is called WTF. The third and fourth don't have any monikers on them, but it's a 4-part story. The thing is already written, and I will guarantee that the end of issue 1 will break people's brains. It'll make them feel like the end of Empire Strikes Back. That's all I can say.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so it is a campaign. So people who fund the campaign, is that going to be to get the entire series or just the first issue?
The first issue. I want to give people a chance. Yeah, I don't want them to go all in. I mean, I know. I've seen other campaigns where they could go all in. They invest in like the futures, right? They get like a special box and they get everything that ever comes out. I want to see how the book does first, because what if I say, oh, this is for all 4, and then it doesn't do as well as it should to fund all 4, and next thing you know, I can't put it out. I don't want to do that. I'd rather put it out, have people see what it's about, realize they need more of it, and then put out another one.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so is this going to be fully self-funded then, or are you working with a publisher as well?
I am the publisher. I have my company's called Incredible Comics. The funding for everything so far has come out of my own pocket, but the crowdfunding aspect of it is obviously to pay for everybody's time. We're treating it like it's a job. I have a page rate, my writer has a page rate, the inker does, the colorist does, plus the cost of printing it, the cost of fulfilling it, and anything additional is capitalism at its finest. Right,
the American way. So what do people? Okay, so before we spoke about tiers. So what are the tiers of funding for Black Flag?
I know this is airing the day it comes out, so that people will be able to see. But you and I are talking 8 days beforehand. Sure. It's in flux. What I know right now is that we have 2 different covers. We have also a sketch cover. We have an original art tier, both single and double page. I will in mid-campaign, I'm introducing a one-of-a-kind pair of Nike Air Cortez that I do a whole scene on. So it'll be like almost like a comic book page on a shoe. Wow. So that's going to be a unique tier to itself. I even have a song. I wrote a song for the shoe called Nike That. That song's done. I'll send it to you. I have to I have to re-record it because I feel like my cadence on it is shit. I think I was tired that day. And it had a bit of the bibbity boppity in there, so I need to trim some of that out. But we've got that. So there's that. We're talking about different stretch goals of trading cards and lithographs and such. Also introducing some add-ons like shot glasses and pint glasses and things like that people may want in addition to like expand upon the experience. But right now it's pretty simple. It's one book, 2 covers. Oh, that's the thing I forgot. We're also doing there's an ash can. It's a perfect it's called I don't know if we're calling it a replica edition or an archive edition of the 1994 ash can that we put out at San Diego Comic-Con, because those are really rare. The original there's only 500 of them, and I personally only own 2. And I've seen them out on eBay go as low as $30 and as high as $130, depending on who's selling it. So I thought that would be a good item to include. We're also doing a 25th anniversary reprint of the first issue, so that's going to be in the tiers as well. So you can get like an all-in sort of thing where you get the 2 covers, the ash can and the 25th anniversary book. So these are all the different tiers that we're playing around with. But I want to dial it in to where it's very simple. I don't want it to be too crazy, because once you get crazy, you get people going, I don't know what to get, and I'd rather make it very, very clear.
Yeah, and then because that's what a lot of people in your field have done wrong with Kickstarters. They have too many tiers, and it makes it impossible for them to even fulfill the orders, because they can't keep it straight when people order, and then it's like just the logistics of it becomes impossible.
Yeah, I think it's like maybe 5 tiers. I mean, there's a couple extra ones that are like the fulfillment is easy. It's like your name in the book is one of them, right. And then another one is like you get killed in the book, because there's going to be a lot of death. Nice. So you can get killed in a book. You can have your name in a book. So those aren't necessarily like fulfillment things. And the other thing too is like having a system, right? Like tier 1 is yellow, tier 2 is blue, tier 3, that sort of thing for when you do fulfillment. Like this is you have like a spreadsheet, and you go there, these are your blue labels, these are your yellow labels, and then when you put those packages together, you have things that correspond. So there are ways to keep track of things.
Perfect. So what is it about Black Flag that you think has made people still fuck with it after all these years?
It's pure 90s. That's number 1, and then number 2. This is the thing that I get all the time, which like it makes me feel good and it cracks me up at the same time. When people say things like that have never seen it before, like the old schoolers are like, hell yeah, 90s, bring it back, right? Because they want that thing, and obviously it resonated with them because you have a soldier, you have an anime, for all intents and purposes, an anime girl, you have a big giant gorilla, you have a magician, you have a funky alien that gets into weird Spider-Man poses, and you have 2 little kids with strange powers. Like, what a weird blend, right? Right. So there's that. But then the people that are unfamiliar with it will say things to me like, man, that reminds me of Overwatch. And I go, well, this came out 20 years before Overwatch. Or they'll see Sniper and go, oh man, that looks like Gears of War. And I go, well, this came out 10 years before Gears of War. Right, so I know that the people that are interested in it, I feel I'm not even saying Overwatch was directly affected by Black Flag. They were probably certainly affected by the same things I was affected by, but I do believe I was the first one to kind of make this soup out of all of these different archetypes. And I think that the fact that you can have, like the way I describe it to people that have never seen it before, that are comic book fans, I will say Geisha is Tony Stark if he was a woman. Sniper is Captain America if the country did him wrong. Right? This character right here is imagine Nightcrawler if he was an alien and autistic, right? This character here is Doctor Strange. These characters here are like Wily Kit and Wily Cat, right? Like, so they go, oh, okay, I get it. Like the dynamic of how these characters would work together is like that. So there's something for everybody, and that everybody started with me, right? The reason why I do these things is because I'm a huge fan of Doctor Strange, and I want to draw metaphysical stuff where we go into the deep, dark parts of the mind and other dimensions. I want to draw that stuff. The reason why I have an alien that gets into crazy poses is because I'm a huge Todd McFarlane fan, and I like drawing weird poses and crazy goop. You know, the reason I have Sniper is I love G.I. Joe, I love Punisher, but I also like the idea that somebody's ideals can be fucked with. You know, like the fact that someone could go through life being taught to be a patriot, being taught these ideals, and then realize like, oh, it's like I like the exploration of that. Or if you're sort of a debutante, right, and a smart debutante, but then your dad dies and you get a multi-billion-dollar company left to you, like what would that do to a person? You know, all of these things. And like my favorite character, I love drawing Gorilla, and Gorilla is basically like he's like a child, but he's also like Johnny Five from Short Circuit. Anything that he sees, he absorbs. But he also, when he's a lot like the Hulk, also, that the more angry he gets, the more savage he gets, and he gets less smart, but he gets more powerful. Like his claws grow, his teeth grow, he gets even larger, and he just kind of does like a berserk rage, like a Wolverine does. And then once he calms down, he can kind of get more intelligent again. So he's kind of like the Hulk and Beast and Wolverine in one big package.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely a great pitch for it. So what gave you the bug to want to get back out there, like doing actual comics again? Because I know that like you've done some work recently, which we'll touch on in a second, but it's been a minute since you've done some interiors, right?
Well, I did this past fall and winter. I did some issues of He-Man for DC, and that was really number one. I really wanted to work with Tim Seeley, like in a major way. I love Tim. I also wanted to get I wanted to get back into fighting shape. You know, like I spent almost 6 years working in animation, directing. And directing is as much as it's creative, you don't do as much drawing as you would like, especially like I have a compulsion to constantly drawing. I ended up doing my Grave graphic novel. I drew a panel a day over a year while I had a day job because I had this sort of compulsion. But the characters that really just kind of nag at me in my sleep were the Black Flag characters. Like I have an idea book of about 45 different ideas. I've got, I have my book Gear Station. That's mine. That's been out. I've got Black Flag. I've got the Grave. But then, like I said, I've got like a whole nother 42 other ideas. I'd say they're not all good. Like the way I write music. Like we talked about the mixtape thing. I've written 90 tracks, okay? And I'm talking musically. Of those 90, I go, I'm gonna write to 20 of them. Of those 20, 10 are gold. That's the mixtape, right? So it's the same way with these ideas, right? Like I have 45 ideas. Of those ideas, there's probably 5 that are like solid, that are going to be legacy ideas. And I feel like Black Flag is the one that's been like telling me in my sleep when I'm brushing my teeth that they nag. They have the life of their own, and they're like, draw me, make me real. So that's really what it is. It's just this sort of like, it's like an itch. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's like they want to exist.
I think I can help you. That sounds like Cool World a little bit to me.
Okay, I think I've seen it once. It's Brad Pitt and
Brad.
What was her
name?
Gabriel
something.
Yeah, Gabriel
Kim
Byrne.
Basinger, right?
Kim Basinger played the girl, but I'm trying to remember her name. She was really well drawn.
Yes. I can't think of her name either.
Yeah.
Some kind of sex pun, I believe. It was definitely some kind of sexy pun.
Yeah. Yeah. And she had that cool little Marilyn Monroe dress,
Yep.
and yeah.
That was actually a dope movie, man.
I'm gonna have to check it out again because I think I saw it in the theater. Real early Brad Pitt. If I remember right. I'm looking it up right now. So we can get the 1992. That was
92?
yeah,
Wow.
man.
Important year.
See, that's what I thought her name was, but I didn't want to say it. Her name's Hollywood.
Yes, Hollywood. Not a
Yeah.
sexy pun, but it's a pun. Yeah.
Yeah, but her name is not. It's HOLLIWOULD. Like I would, you would, Hollywood.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in that movie when it starts out, Byrne is in jail for something, and then he keeps having Hollywood with nagging him in his head, like, draw me, you know you want to draw me, blah, 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 blah. So that's exactly. So when you said that, that's the first thing that my mind went to.
It's like that, man. It really is. It's like, I don't know. It must be what like a drug addict feels like when they need a fix, you know, like the reason my Instagram is called Couch Doodles is my wife had just had my daughter. This is back in 2012. I had a sketch pad everywhere, and I still do. I have them in my office. I have one in the living room, the bedroom, the kitchen, the car, the bathroom. But I found that I was doing a lot of drawing on the couch, like holding the baby and drawing. I draw compulsively. Like I just do. But it's almost like, for lack of a better phrase, it's like masturbation if it doesn't have purpose, right? So I better filter. I think with those characters telling me to do that, and with my compulsion, it's saying put it to work.
I mean, that makes total sense, man. So now that you brought it up, so let's touch on the Masters of the Universe work again. So how did that work come about for you?
I think it came about out of the fact that I worked for Mattel for that 5.5 years.
Right.
While I was there, I worked on several projects. I worked on Monster High, Ever After High, Max Steel, Hot Wheels, Polly Pocket, a lot of development for stuff I can't even talk about. But while I was there, I had to draw, like on especially the development side, I had to draw in, I've lost track, more than 20 different styles. Right, like a cartoon style, an anime style. When I would do corrections on storyboards on other movies, I'd be drawing in sort of a more an aesthetic that was for a girl's property. When I was doing stuff for Max Steel, I was drawing stuff more superhero. When I was doing Hot Wheels, it was more car oriented. So I was constantly evolving my style. So when this Masters in the Multiverse came about, and one of the I don't want to call it a burden. One of the challenges of that series is that there are He-Mans, I don't know how you say it, multiple He-Man from the movie world, from the cartoon world, from the video game, from the space series, from all these different series. They wanted somebody that could pull off these different styles. And when they came up with that series, and this is after I'd been laid off from Mattel, because Mattel had gone through some hardships. They laid off like 2,200 people. They almost killed my entire. My department went from over 100 people to 6 people by the time it was my last day. But one of those 6 people that's still there to this day said, "Yo, you got to call Fraga," and I basically said, "No." No thanks. I don't draw comics anymore. Then it was, but you're the only one. Nah, I'm good. Thanks. And then and plus I'm out here in Georgia doing storyboards for TV shows, you know. And then they said, well, Tim Seeley is writing it. And I went, oh shit. Okay. All right, I'll do it. Yeah. So it came about because they were familiar with the fact that I could rise to the challenge of these multiple versions of He-Man. So that's how it came about.
Very cool. So now that you got your foot back wet in the comics game, and like you're doing Black Flag, are there any plans, or would you be open to the prospect of doing more Big 2 or Big 3 work after Black Flag is done?
No. No, and the reason why is Black Flag is the flagship book of my brand new comic company. It's an old name. It's what my comic company was called in high school with my buddy Mike. It's called Incredible Comics. I have a rollout, right? Like, so if Black Flag does well and can pay for itself, that means I can do another issue. If Black Flag does extremely well or better than well, I now have extra money that I can go hire the team I want to execute this other idea of mine. Once Black Flag is done, I can't tell you what the next project is, but it's already being written. I'm going to jump right into that. And what I want to have, like, by 2023, if we still have a planet, I hope to have those 5 books I was telling you about. I hope to have those. I hope to have those out. I hope to have animated content. Because that's a place. That's where I feel like I'm a lucky guy. Like, I know a lot of comic creators that go, I would love to have an animated blah blah blah. Out of all of my contemporaries, I do believe I'm the only one that has actually animated hundreds of hours of animated content. I know the pipeline from inception to delivery, which is a unique skill to have. So if I had that in-house, even if it was a small team, the animation can happen. But anyway, no, here's the thing. I have no interest in anything from the big 2 or 3. If you're saying 3 is Image, Image, I would only be doing my own stuff, and I'm doing my own stuff, so that takes Image out.
Right.
With DC, they don't have any toys I want to play with. Like, they don't. And the only character I want to play with over at Marvel is Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man in every iteration. I mean, I've got Miles Morales on my shirt. You know what I mean? Like, I love Spider-Man. Like, I love all of the Spider universe. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I don't know, man. I have my own characters that sort of, like I said, when I designed Black Flag back in 1995, it was a love letter to the things I love. So what fulfills me an artist is drawing the things I want to draw and draw the things that make me excited, because I got to sit at this desk for 10, 12 hours a day. I don't want to draw shit I don't want to draw, you know? So if I have the full say-so to draw the things I want to draw, or if I want to change a scene mid-stride, nothing that's going to, like, break the plot, but, like, if I'm like, you know what, man, it'd be cool if this happened, as long as like, story-wise, anybody that tells a story, their story beads like a string of beads, right? And as long as you get from point A to point B to point C, all the stuff in between point A and point B, you can fuck with it the whole way, as long as those other things are kept sturdy. And you can mess with those too, as long as A and Z end up. Know your beginning and know your end. And I like that freedom. I like going, well, you know what? Maybe I'm going to add a bunch of ninjas to this scene, because that would be fun. I want to draw ninjas today. And I can.
And you can, right.
And I can. I can't do that with Spider-Man. I got to kind of adhere to it. And now that they're, big, they went from corporation to, like, the mouse. That freedom doesn't exist. Yeah. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer.
No, I mean, no, that's a great answer though.